All right, we are working on 313. Check your understanding. The spicy problems. The spicy problems are going to be done the same way as the mild and medium. They just have an extra layer of spiciness. So let's check here. So we have 56.5%. With this in my draught, I know I'm going to draw 56. So one column, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would make, since this is each column has 10 squares, I know that 5 columns will have 50 squares. And then I want 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this 0.5 is actually just going to be half a square. So I have 56.5 squares. Then changing it to a decimal, I know that to change it to a decimal, I am going to divide by 100, which will move my decimal point over 2 place values. So it'd be 56.5. So 565 thousandths is how you would read that decimal. Then for the fraction, I am I'm looking at my decimal, and I am in the thousandths place. So I am going to have my decimal place value be the bottom of my fraction, and then I would put that over it. You could also kind of combine decimals, and if you wanted to do, like, since percent is out of 100, you could do that, and then your top would be 56.5. So both of those are correct. For say it, again, I'm going to my decimal. I'm looking at my last place value, and that is thousandths. And then I would just say this whole number. So 565 thousandths. All right, down here, I start with my decimals, 895, so 895 thousandths. And I'm going to use some ideas that I did in the first one. So again, I know that this is in the thousandths place value. So I'm going to put 1,000 under here and then 895 there. Up here, I knew, or I said, okay, if I'm over 100, I'm going to put that decimal in between my ones and my tens in over 1,000. So I could do this, which would give me my percentage. The other way that we can get the percentage is we know that when we change a decimal to a percent, we want to multiply by 100. It has 2 zeros, so we're going to move the decimal to the right 2 place values. So 89.5%. And then I'm going to use that information to fill in here. So I know I'm going to go to 89, which is 8 rows. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And we fill it all in. And then 89, almost all the way to the bottom. And then I have a half. Then to say it, I go to my decimal. I am in the thousandths place value. And then I would write 895 thousandths. Alrighty. For this bottom one, I'm going to have to do some equivalent fractions to get it to where I need to be. So I know that 4 is in my denominator, and one of the ways that we change a fraction to a percent is by finding an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So I'd ask myself, what times 4 equals 100? And that is 25. And I would, whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. And then 3 times 25 is 75. So now I can use this new fraction for my decimal and my percent. So I know changing from a fraction to a percent, I just take the numerator, and that is my percent. For the decimal, since this is in the hundredths place value, I can draw my lines, tenths, hundredths, and then fill in the number from the top. Over here, I have 70, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Fill it all in. And then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down below, I'm going to look to my decimal. I am in the hundredths place value, and then I say my number, which is 75. All right, the back side of the CYU for the spicy column. We have a similar problem here, but we've changed the numbers just a little bit. So an article in the local paper states that 25% of the students at Oak Grove Middle School earned a place on the Silver Honor Roll. If there are 920 students at Oak Grove, how many are on the Silver Honor Roll? Use a percent ruler to help you decide. Show all of your row. So our percent ruler is our line, and we know we're starting at 0, and the end of our percent ruler is going to be the total number that we have here, 920. I also know that up top, because I'm looking for percents, the bottom is going to be students and the top can be percent. So I start 0%. 100% of the students would be 920. I'm just going to go for the middle, which is 50%. And I know that 50% of something is half, so I'm going to look for half of 92, or 92 and then add a 0, so 920. So half of 92 would be 4. There we go. So you guys see what I'm doing. So 2 times what? 2 times 4 would get me close to 9. Bring down the 2. 2 times 6 would give me 12. And then I bring up my 0, so 460. So now you know where I got that 460 from. Now, I am looking for 25%. So I'm going to mark where some percents are. And I know that half of 50 is 25%. And then here would be 75%. So I really want to know what half of this 50% is. So again, I'm going to take this number and cut it in half. So 460 divided by 2 is 230. So 25% of 920 students is 230 students were on the Silver Honor Roll. All right. Next, Maurice's gas tank can hold 60 liters, which is shown down here on our percent ruler. On your paper, copy and label the percent ruler below. Then use it to find how many liters are in the tank when it is 2/5 full. That 2/5 got moved up a little bit. So down here, we're starting at 0 and we go to 60. So this is representative of our whole gas tank. But we want to see what 2/5 is. And I know that the 5 is going to tell me how many pieces are in my whole. But if I look here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. So I'm going to need to find an equivalent fraction that whole is 10. So using my giant 1, I know that 5 times 2 is 10. So I also have to do 2 times 2, which would be 4. So I'm looking for 4 tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tenths or 2/5. So whatever number down here in the liters is going to be my amount for being 2/5 full. So how I'm going to figure that out is I'm going to, again, divide this. I always like to start with 50%. So half of 60 is 30. And then I'm going to, I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I have to break 30 down into 5, and that would be 6. So 1 is 6, 12, 18, 24. And then I could keep counting up if I wanted to, 36, 42, 48, and 54, just to make sure. And then again, I know that I'm looking for here. So it would be 24 liters if the gas tank was 2/5 full. Then finally, given the numbers 39.5% and just the number 39.5, explain which number is larger by using words and or pictures. So here I just have a whole number and part of a whole number. Here I have a fraction, not a fraction, sorry, a percent. And I know that percent means out of 100. And I want to change this to a whole number. So to change it to a number or a decimal, I am going to move the decimal over 1, 2, and I would have 0.395, which is less than 39.5 because I don't even have a whole in my percent. So I know that 39.5 is larger because 39.5% is equal to 395 thousandths.